Solana. Is it over? Today we will look at Solana and Ethereum. Larsson Line has flipped gold for Bitcoin. A massive event. But are there even better opportunities in the altcoins? And specifically, many of you have asked about Solana SOL and Ethereum ETH. Are these high confidence entries now, or has the rally already happened, finished, and this was it? I will share exactly what I'm doing, how I'm reasoning with this, and also share one more major altcoin which I'm watching for a very specific event to happen. But first we just have to look a little at Bitcoin. As I shared in the video this Monday, I took an entry ahead of the gold flip here on Tuesday, January 10th at 17,433. And after some hesitation, I still hold that entry. But now that the Larsson line is gold, I want to add to that position. And I'm not buying right here today, because this is just below this resistance level. And I see better risk reward to wait for one of two things to happen. Either a retracement to a support level that holds, like the volume profile or the support from the classical charting. Or we have a breakout from this level. I discussed this in more detail in today's Friday TA report, which you should have in your inboxes if you finish the course. So I won't repeat it again, but that's the general idea. If we now look at Ethereum to USD, that has flipped gold as well. Really great to see. And same as with Bitcoin, I have an Ethereum position from before, but now that the Larsson line is up, I want to add. And from here, the situation is basically identical to Bitcoin. We already moved up to this resistance area set by the October-November 2022 high, and you can see that super clearly here on the volume profile here on the right. And if that breaks up, and we zoom out a little, we see that the next volume profile is here at around 1800, coinciding with this top. And then the next resistance is 2000, set by this top and a psychological level. And same as for Bitcoin. If we get a dip here into this volume area at around 1350, I'm going to buy the dip, because the trend is up and I can put stops below. And if we break out from here, that can also be a good risk reward, because again, I can put stops below. Having said all this, I think doing it like this, we're making it more difficult for ourselves. I already said that it looks almost identical to Bitcoin. So let's abstract that away and instead look at the ETH to BTC chart. The purpose with that for me is to answer this question. If I've decided to be in the market, should I be in Bitcoin or Ethereum? If the ETH to BTC chart is favorable, I move money from BTC exposure to ETH exposure. I don't need to buy and sell on the ETH-BTC pair. I can still sell, for example, BTC exposure to price tracking certificates in fiat, and then immediately buy ETH exposure in the similar certificates instead. Here the picture is actually a lot clearer. ETH-BTC is in this massive consolidation range, and it has been making higher and higher lows, as you can see here, all the way back since June 2022. And should this break out here, oh boy. If we look at the market caps of Bitcoin versus Ethereum, we see that Ethereum only need to gain about 2 times on Bitcoin, which then puts this chart at 0.157, which is up here for Ethereum to flip Bitcoin as the #1 cryptocurrency by market cap. And looking at this chart alone, putting all the narratives aside, that definitely looks possible if it breaks up. So personally, I'm not taking any action right now, just below resistance. I want to see a solid breakup here. And if that happens, I'll be very aggressive on moving Bitcoin exposure over to Ethereum, because then it can really make a run for it. But what about the unlock? Yeah, sure, but then price won't go up then. I don't need to predict what everyone is going to do. It's far more accurate to react on what they're actually doing. Now let's come to Solana SOL. I did miss the entry in Solana around New Year because I was on holiday and didn't pay attention. So am I crying? No! I don't need to surf all the waves in the ocean. I don't need to trade all setups in the market. And I'm telling you, if this setup in Bitcoin holds, we're going to get an ocean of setups. We're going to have so many setups that our investable funds run out. That will be the problem, not that we can't find any. So let's zoom out and get some perspective, guys. Larsson Line flipped gold at about $0.75 in June 2020. Then it flipped blue at $2, back to gold at something like $3 in January 2021. Blue at 27, gold at 37, then that ran all the way until it flipped blue at 160, which has been in downtrend since. So let's calculate entry, exit, 0.75 to 2, 3 to 27, 37 to 160, divide, multiply. You made 100x with very limited downside risk and without riding it all the way down again from 160 down to a low of 8, where you might have panicked. If you hodled instead until today from 0.75, you'd be up 28x, which is less. And the whole point is that you would have taken a much bigger risk. Now this project has been successful, but we didn't know that for sure back in mid-2020. Hodling on the way down is risky because most projects fail. Hodling all the way down is risky because you couldn't probably predict that FTX would go bankrupt in 2022, and that for that reason it's got a lot worse than everyone expected. And it could easily have gotten even worse if FTX's SOL tokens hadn't gotten locked up here a couple of weeks ago. What if they had been market sold instead? Then this would have gone perhaps close to zero. It's very difficult to predict the future. It's much easier to react to what actually happens. And if you buy back today, here, right now at 21.24, you still have the 100x. You don't have less money because you didn't buy the bottom. Missing a trade doesn't lose your money. I'm baffled that so many people seem to struggle with that concept. It's nice to get a good trade that works out, but you don't have to take them all. It's nice to surf a great wave, but there will come another one after it. You don't have to surf all the waves in the ocean. If this is still unclear, let me try a third time. It's nice with beautiful women, or men if you're so inclined, but you don't have to sleep with all of them. Having said that, I did miss a solid SOL entry here. This line here on the BTC chart I've had drawn since way back. It originated from here in 2021, a key level for this chart in November 2022 when it acted as strong support, then here again, then it broke down. And then that level was reclaimed and tested and held. Here was a solid entry. And last Friday, on Friday 13th, a week ago, I actually wrote in that week's Friday TA report when price was at $17. Then I wrote like this. The situation looks similar on the SOL to BTC chart. The volume profile, that is this which you see here on the right, is below us. You can see the price was this line here. Volume profile is below. We zoom in a little bit so you see it clearer. Here's the price, here's the volume profile. The support has been reclaimed and holds. That was this level here I talked about. And I wrote, if we're fine to gamble a little against the trend, this is actually a solid entry with a clear invalidation, the support level. Especially if you followed our process exit at 160, a re-entry at 1/10 of that, giving you 10 times the coins for the money, isn't bad. Then I wrote this about the USD chart. Look at the volume that has changed hands, right side of the chart. Again, that's the volume profile, below the current price level. And remember, at that time price was 17, and you see the volume here, and how little volume has traded from here up to the 24 to 25 level, dashed line by the cursor, set by the range support from Q2 2022. Dashed line is here, range support is this level, and you can see that there was very little volume traded there. And sure enough, price actually closed this distance and a couple of days ago hit a high of $25.01. So that worked out. Okay, so that's history. But what about now? Well, I think it's super clear, and I went through that because I want you to learn something which I will now show you. From the bottom, the rally is up like 200%. I'm not chasing a rally. But let's look again at the volume profile. And if we zoom out so we're not missing anything, you can see here that the volume really starts at $15 level. And you can also see this key horizontal level that was resistance here and may further add to that support. You see there's also a little bit of a volume peak here at $16, $16.50, so that might also provide some support. Trend might turn up here, we might get a dip to support that holds here or here. If that happens, that's another solid entry. Then I'm in. It's really that simple. If you can't see the value of a process tools at this point, I don't know what to tell you. If you see the value and you're not on the boat yet, go to here, www.ctolarsson.com, get your course access, which includes free Larsson Line indicator access, my Friday TA reports, Discord server access, and hodl sucks socks. ctolarsson.com, everything else is a scam. Don't get scammed, guys. With Bitcoin back in gold, it's a very exciting time in the market. But what about the Fed? What about this? What about that? Well, that's the greatest thing with a reactive process. I don't need to know what side of the bed the Fed will wake up on next month. If the situation in the market changes, I react to that. That's far easier and far more accurate. Unless you have a crystal ball that can see into the future, then by all means use it. It's just that I haven't found one, and I don't think you're going to find one on Twitter. Thank you, tack. CTO Larsson out. Hej då. I forgot one thing. I promised one more altcoin, and that is actually MATIC. Because I'm quite impressed by what Polygon has done in terms of the business development. I think they have a little bit sneaky but quite successful approach, kind of latching on to the Ethereum brand but still having their own coin and their own network in practice. And this chart is so clear, and I'm telling you before it has happened. You don't need to know any technical analysis to see the resistance level that this chart is facing on MATIC to BTC. If this breaks out, that's a solid high risk reward entry if it breaks up in an uptrend, because you can limit the loss with a stop loss below. Hej då!